I joined the Wordless World Manga Contest because I'm insane! Not only did I ink 25 pages in 23 days, I also listened to my inner demons and screen-toned them all in 3, all while taking art commissions and running an online art business. Here's the story of how I did it. In late December, before I left to visit my grandparents in Michigan, I found a website for a little contest called the Wordless World Manga Contest, hosted by Kadokawa. And I was like, huh, that's pretty neat, so I included some comic paper in my luggage. At the time, I was and still am mega interested in Nikkei, not sponsored, and I wanted to follow up on my previous success for the Nikkei Cool Summer Creator Contest, which I got an honorable mention for. I entered their second Annie contest and was racing against the winter contest deadline, so that was at the forefront of my mind, not the manga contest. However, little by little, a story started to take shape. A story about two girls who meet at a card shop and play a magical card game called Cataclysm Clash. I designed the characters for my story, Yuzuki and Plumeria, based off of my love for Yu-Gi-Oh! And card games. But I wanted to tell a story about girls, something kid me would have loved to have seen represented in Yu-Gi-Oh! Whenever I visited a card shop, there would be usually only 1 or 2 girls there, including myself, so I felt very isolated as a kid. I wanted to tell a story about 2 girls who could find friendship in one another. By mid-January, I had successfully made a series of thumbnails, sketched out all the pages, and made 2 character design sheets for the main characters. However, instead of inking the pages, I ran into a problem. Several problems, in fact. Those problems were my commissions. I had several bad experiences with my commission clients, which had not been the norm for me before then. I had never had so many problems with my commissions before, and I had been doing them for years at this point. People refusing to pay for the other half of the payment, people trying to break my terms of service or circumvent those rules, miscommunications or getting ghosted by the client. It was a whole mess. I realized I had focused so much on my commissions that I had forgotten about my comic. February, 28 days before the deadline. I gave myself the ultimatum: put off anything unessential until the end of the month and focus on finishing the comic. I gave myself 1 month to ink the whole comic traditionally and submit it to the contest. I planned to do a page a day, but I was on a roll. My enthusiasm for art returned, and I was doing a page, sometimes 2 pages a day. However, I couldn't only work on my comic. Around Valentine's Day, the pre-order shipment for my playmats came in, so I had to spend a day and a half packaging orders and taking them to the UPS store to ship out, along with the Valentine's Day sale. By the time I was done, I shipped out 34 whole packages in a day. Not as many as my Kickstarter, but it was still a struggle to carry out to my car. Wow, that box was heavy. Then, my birthday rolled around, and I spent time with my family around then. I couldn't believe I was 24 whole years old. Soon after that, I finished inking the comic. Instead of finishing inking on day 26, I finished on day 23. My hands were perpetually covered in ink and I was exhausted. Although I streamed working on the comic, I lost a lot of the earlier VOD footage I forgot to save, and I had to fight my scanner for an hour or so to get the pages saved as a bitmap. You may be asking, Vecta, what the heck is a bitmap, and why does it matter that your files were bitmaps? A bitmap is a type of binary file type. Essentially, there are 2 colors, black and white, 1s and 0s. Because my work was mostly monochrome, the contest asks that these monochrome works are submitted as binary images. All of the gray that you see in manga pages are actually the result of screen tones. Screen tones. I can do screen tones. Maybe I should do screen tones, said the demons in my head. I had 3 days to do screen tones, and somehow, through crunching and doing 8 to 9 pages a day, I finished the comic's screen tones. And look at the difference! It really elevated the look of my comic. Shout out to Mana Moon for sending the digital screen tone brushes that I used. My final hurdle was coloring the cover. I decided to ink and color it traditionally, using Ohuhu liners and alcohol markers. I made a little sample swatch drawing to show which color should go where. Coloring the cover wasn't a struggle, but recording it was. I had to stop and start recording a couple times because my phone ran out of battery. I scanned it in and edited out the guidelines, and ta-da! I had a finished one-shot comic. You can view the finished comic on Webtoon, and I actually printed out and hand-bound some copies of the comic to sell at artist alleys. It was such a great learning experience, and I really pushed myself to do as much as I could within the time constraints. I hope my next project is just as fun as this one. Thanks for watching!